I talk about the COVID-19 monitoring we set up at the Statistical Office of the Canton of Zurich. Shortly about us, the Statistical Office, we do open government data. We have the to provide evidence-based decision-making and to provide data for evidence-based decision-making and data for the public, the greater public. So everything we produce is a public good, and we are like, we want to be 21st century public servants. There was a nice book about this. So we serve the public, we work transparent and look that the people understand what we do. Shortly about me, I'm mostly just a data aficionado, and the rest comes from this. That's why I work at the Statistical Office. That's why I'm involved in open data, as well as in Korstadt. Korstadt is like the Konferenz der regionalen statistischen Ämter. So all statistical offices of Switzerland are together in this Korstadt, and then I am in the bureau, so the office of the Korstadt as well. And the other one, I just can't see, just a second. Yeah, it's mostly that. And what are we talking about? We are talking about 2020, really a strange year we had, and mostly about the last 4 months. And you see it here. It started already in January and December in China. In February, it got closer. In March, it really started in Switzerland. And since then, it was also like the thing that mostly occupied us in the Statistical Office. This are the case data of Switzerland that you see here. And the first lockdown on the 16th of March, and the first like going open again on the 27th of April. And this will also kind of set the tune for my talk. And in February, we had no data on COVID-19 in Switzerland, and on the effects, the social effects of COVID-19. We didn't have social effects then yet. And the problem is that official statistics is specialized in providing high quality, broadly consulted and reliable indicators. This is very important. But now we had a dynamic, rapidly evolving crisis, and public statistics were not prepared for this, because normally an indicator from the Federal Office of Statistics takes like 2 years till it is published. It's highly reliable and quality checked, but very old as well. And so we started to think about what can we do about this problem, and the solution is collaboration and open data in the end. We have a lot of open data sources. We have APIs that we can use. There is a lot of data out there that is not yet used by public statistics. And so we decided on March, on the beginning of March, and March the 5th, the first data set for COVID-19 case data was published on opendata.swiss. We talked with our health department that we can publish the case data from the Canton of Zurich. And we soon, we got a lot of feedback from the community and a lot of like help. They wanted to help us to make this data more broadly available and for other cantons as well. So I talked to Oleg, and Oleg helped me to make this monitoring COVID-19 effects hackathon. And actually we did it in like, Oleg mostly did it in 2 hours. So we decided it on, I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday evening at around 4, I called Oleg, and at around 6 we were running with the website, and we prepared the challenges, and on the next morning the hackathon was running. So we had this hackathon from the 18th to the 24th of March. And this was like the start of our monitoring COVID-19 effects, everything at the Statistical Office of the Canton of Zurich. What was the result of this? We have like 2 main repositories on GitHub. One is the SARS-CoV-2 cases communicated by Swiss cantons and Principality of Liechtenstein, which is we get we gather all the data from all cantons that they publish on their website and standardize it and push it in a public repository. And we have like the monitoring of the social and economical effects of COVID-19. These are over 150 daily updated indicators on mobility, on economics, on a lot of different things, like on the main topics we have data on. And we have a standardized format for it. And the links are in the presentation. Vasily will send you the presentation, I think, afterwards, if you are interested, so you can check the repositories out if you want. And how did we do it in the statistical office? Mostly the communication was over Slack. We had a Slack channel. As you see in this presentation, it wasn't broadly used before COVID-19. But the nice thing is it didn't go down with the case numbers. So it's still a very much used tool now in the statistical office. And I have to say as well, only 1/3 of the active people on Slack are from the statistical office. So it's for us, it's a tool to communicate with the broader community. For example, the ETH task force was involved very early. The whole open data community over the hackathon and other statistical offices. So a lot of people are on this Slack channel that are not like from our office. And how did we do it with the data? I have to see if I can put this one. Wait, no, that's right. We made a GitHub repository and we have like over 50 contributors to this repository. They help us gather the data, clean the data, publish the data. What we did was more or less just a standardized format, and we didn't do it on our own, as Andreas Amsel always points out. We copied it from Italy. Italy has a really good repository, an open repository on COVID-19 data, so we more or less copied it and translated it into German. And we could manage the collaboration and the documentation and the proliferation of the data over GitHub very easily. So somebody could make an issue if they had an issue with the data, or they could a pull request or a push request if they had new data, and we could manage it really easily, and we could review it very easily as well. So we had like 4 people with rights to the repository, and they had to review the push requests and everything. So this was really, really easy with GitHub. A lot of data in the beginning, especially in the beginning, was updated manually. The ETH task force really helped us there with human resources. We had like 10 people sometimes working on this data. So get the information manually from the websites. We had scrapers, but most cantons changed their websites, changed the links and everything. So the scrapers had to be redone and reprogrammed all the time again. This was a lot of work, a lot of manual work as well. And we try to contact all cantons, but this is still ongoing project to like be in contact with them and tell them what is necessary so we can scrape the data. They were really helpful, some more, some less, but in the end, we managed to get all the data like on a daily basis. 3 times updated was the most. Now it's not 3 times updated anymore, once a day. Just to see how we used the crisis, this is what I told before, the case data, the blue line, and the communication over Slack. So we still communicate a lot more on Slack and with other entities as well, inside of the canton and outside of the canton as well. And this is the really nice thing, I think. It really changed. I don't like the citat, never waste a good crisis, but it fits what we did here in the statistical office. They make it quick. The conclusion is: did we make more confusion with the data? This is, I think, a lot of people think that the data was not only published by the Federal Health Administration, but there were a lot of different data out there on case numbers, which would be a really easy number to count. How many cases do we have in Switzerland, or how many people are in hospital? And there still are a lot of different data on this out there, so we don't really know it. And I don't think that we made confusion with our data, but we started discourse, and I think it's very important to share this data and the methodology and the how we did it publicly, because we have mature and responsible citizens. And if you just have one source, and it's the how do you say it in English? I don't know, Datenhoheit. They have the Datenhoheit. It's a nice German word. It's not like it proliferates polarization and populism. And that's why I think for a democracy, it's really important that we have this discourse and that we treat our citizens as mature and responsible citizens. So that's why we did it, more or less. And so, like, now we have more time for data because I was really quick. And this is our Twitter handles. We communicate a lot over Twitter. So if you want to follow us and want to have more information, we publish everything on Twitter and on our websites.
Fantastic. Matthias, thank you so much for succinct and very provocative tour. I just want to make one correction. The hackathon wasn't done in 2 hours. It was done in 8 years. You know, it was 8 years of hackathons that just made it possible to do a quick community response. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions and then leave the floor open to everyone else, if that's okay with you guys. And by the way, David, thanks for joining us as well. It's good to see the room filling up. I wanted to ask you just what was the aha moment for you? You know, when you, in this project, when you, as you've been publishing this data, was there a use case? Was there someone who picked up this data and put it to use in some way, and you were just like, that's exactly it. That's what we were looking for. Matthias looks a bit frozen. Did you guys hear my question?
Yeah, I heard your question, but I think it's on.
It looks like you're back. Matthias, did you hear my question?
Yes.
Sorry, you were frozen for a second.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we
Maybe
do now.
I have. Okay. I think everybody used the data, but the aha moment was not that the data was used, because the BAG data wasn't published openly and in a machine readable format. So it was clear for us that the data will be used by newspapers, by scientists, and by everyone else, because the BAG data wasn't reusable. The aha moment was more like that we standardized data for whole Switzerland and in collaboration with all the cantons in just like 2 weeks. We had a standardized format. And normally in Switzerland, this takes like years, like 5 years, 2 years, and it's discussions, and we did it in like 1 month. This was more the aha moment, I think.
I think this it's similar to what I've been hearing from across the the open knowledge network and other kind of global news stories that open data has just had a massive acceleration in these past couple of months. A lot of doors have opened which have been closed for a long time.
For us in the use as well. In the use as well.
Still breaking up a bit.
Monitoring of the social effects. This was really important, that a lot of the data was already there to use.
Sorry, we lost you just at the beginning. Did you say that other data sources as well, including monitoring of social effects, was impacted by this?
The use of data had a big rise as well, I think. Not only the publishing of data, so it's not only easier to publish open data, but to use open data too.
And just on that note, I noticed just a few minutes ago, before we started the call, the Federal Office of Statistics published the Mobilitats, or at least they tweeted the Mobilitats monitoring data set that they'd collected through surveys.
Without,
I wanted to ask you, but
don't have to use. So it's without CC ask, it's only CC by. That's the important thing.
Exactly. That's the important thing. But what would you like to see changed? What I wanted to ask you, what would you want to, in regards to Switzerland, is what would you like to see changed in the law regarding data sharing? Did you get any political support for what you're doing? Are there campaigns or people who are really trying to maximize the benefit for the public from this experience?
I think we don't have the öffentlich in most cantons, if they have one, and in Switzerland as well. So it's the public administration is not obliged to publish information proactively. But I think public administration should be transparent in data as well as in doing, as in everything. So you shouldn't have to ask for data and argument that you need it to get the data. It should be there to use.
You're talking about the Öffentlichkeitsgesetz,
Exactly, yes.
the public access to information law, and as opposed to open data by default.
Yes, I think it should be open by default, and you have to argue when you don't want to publish it. Definitely.
Okay, well, I
and
think
it's a broader. We have the Black Lives Matters movement now as well. So it's really important to see these connections. John Trevor did a nice thing on the domino blocks that are connected. I think it's connected because you can't like communicate what we want and just like calm the public and try to calm the public, but you have to get in discourse with the public and explain the things till they understand it, and not just say things so they stay calm and act responsively. It's very important in a broad way, I think.
Thank you, Matthias.